So I have a guy in the shop who's asking $60,000 for what he believes is one of the very first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic books ever released. And it's signed by one of the co-creators, Kevin Eastman. What this guy doesn't know, though, Kevin Eastman is actually a friend of mine. So he's gonna come down here and say if this thing is real or complete fake. Like I said, I've met this guy a couple times. He was gracious enough to come down. Kevin Eastman.
Hey, Chumlee.
Pleasure to meet you.
I'm sorry you're friends with Rick.
Let me get around there.
Hey. Oh, nice to meet you. I love your work.
Thanks. Is this your work?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
fantastic. Wow.
So I've heard the stories, but I might as well hear it from the horse's mouth. How did this comic actually come about?
It really came out of a complete joke. Both Peter Laird and myself wanted to be Jack Kirby when we grew up. We wanted to write and draw comic books for a living. I was a huge fan of Bruce Lee, and I figured if Bruce Lee was an animal, what would be the stupidest animal? I had this idea, did this sketch, turtle in a kung fu pose, mask on, nunchuck strapped to his arm, and I put it on Pete's desk, and I said, this is going to be the next big thing. He got a laugh. I drew 4 turtles, each with different weapons, and we said, this is the dumbest thing we've ever seen. We borrowed money from our uncle. We had enough money to print 3,000 copies. We figured maybe if we sold a couple hundred, we could pay him back at least something.
Okay, so how'd you first sell it? I mean, you put it in comic book stores?
Pete had this idea. He said, let's put out a news story that says, we've arrived. And I said, that's stupid. Nobody's going to buy into this. And he put it out, and the AP picked it up, and pretty much all over the country, they started doing news articles about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So we sold out that first press run in, what, 2 weeks?
Okay.
We made enough money from that issue to pay our rent, eat all the macaroni and cheese we run, and draw on comic books full time. So we become Jack Kirby by summer of 1985.
Turtle power.
Turtle power.
All right. So the big question is this a first printing?
Yes, it's definitely first printing.
So what's the difference between the first printing and the second printing?
The second printing was a little bit lighter, more of a pinkish tone to it. So I definitely know this is a first printing just because of the deep, rich redness of it. So my signature is undeniable because ever since the very, very beginning, I always wanted to make it different than anybody else, the way they were signing the comics. So I added a turtle head on each one. So this is definitely my signature.
All right. Do you know what these things go for?
I've seen them range, you know, all over the map price-wise.
You have no idea what it's worth?
No idea what it's worth. So.
All right. But it's legit. That's your signature.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, at least we know that, and we'll figure out a price later. We'll have lunch soon, dude. I'll call somebody up, and we'll get this figured out.
Look forward to it. Thanks, guys. See ya.
All right. Sorry to do this to you, but when we're talking a lot of money, I sometimes have a lot of people look at things. Let me call one more guy and have him take a look at it.
All right.
I'm sure this guy can figure out a price on it, so give me like 15 minutes.
Okay. I'm really excited to see what the experts say. Knowing that Kevin said it was a first edition and that was his signature, I'm hoping maybe I can make a little bit more than what I was coming in for.